We'll wrap up on Friday night, obviously, get everybody out of the locker room. One of the things I think our parents do that's pretty cool is there is a restaurant that opens their back room for our players. And so players and parents have a place to go for a couple hours between 10 o'clock and midnight, for example, that kids could be out doing things. About 90% of our players will go to this. The cheerleaders go, their girlfriends go, they hang out, they feed the players, but they also, this restaurant, they make their money on selling food and stuff to the other folks. So we have a safe place for our kids to go post-game. And again, it's unique, it's kind of a special to us. So we have that. So we will come in on Saturday morning. Our coaches will have already had the film. They come in a little bit early and they start working on the film. Typically about 8:30ish, they'll come in. We play our freshman and JV games on Saturday morning at 10 o'clock. So they could be coming in, traveling to wherever we're playing, or going out to our own fields. So those JV kids, depending on who it is, and we usually communicate with them the night before, hey, you didn't play much tonight, so you're gonna play 3/4 on Saturdays. We want you to play. So we have those JVs coming in and out. So the varsity kids show up at 9. And for the last 4 years, we have our kids do it's kind of a mix between Pilates and yoga, and it's an hour. And I will tell you, the first time we did it, we had some kids who just looked at us like, are you nuts, coach? This is crazy. But I got a text from one of them, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, coach, my legs feel better than they've ever felt. So we do an hour of yoga just to stretch, get the kinks out. Our training room is open today at 8 o'clock, so any training room needs, they come in, they get their training room stuff. 9 o'clock, they know that they're in the wrestling room, so from 9 to 10, we're getting a great sweat up. There's a gal that comes in, we pay her to do it. It's a good gig for her, although she may argue with you, just 35 or 40 guys trying to teach them how to do some of the yoga stuff. That's another comedy in and of itself, watching some of that happen. But now during that whole time, the two coordinators, they're putting all the stuff on the huddle, all the plays are up, they're marking it up, they're doing what they need to do. And at 10 o'clock, those varsity kids come back, we split them up offense, defense, and they will go to the film room, and from 10 to 11:30ish, they'll have an hour and a half of film. And again, that will just depend upon how the game went, how well they played, how well they didn't play, how many plays on offense, how many plays on defense. And a lot of times, if we've got a home JV game, our kids get out in time to go catch the second half and they go watch the game. On Friday night, we'll play opponent A. Well, we'll play opponent A's freshman and JV team on Saturday. So our kids during the week get all that prep for the varsity, but it actually helps prep them for the JV game and the freshman game as well. Saturday, typically noon, 1 o'clock, kids are gone. Coaches normally go home Saturday afternoon. I go, that's your time. Go home Saturday afternoon, spend some time. Most of our guys will go home, spend some time, but then they'll still pull up the trade film for next week, and we'll start a little bit of working on that. We come in at 10 o'clock on Sunday morning, the staff does. We work from 10 to about 1 with breaking film down, but most of it's broken in. So they're doing their first initial game plan on Sundays. For us, our Catholic Youth League plays on Sunday afternoons, so I'm out. We get coaches out. We're going watching, middle school games, watching those guys play just so they see us, because we're kind of dependent on those guys, coming into our building. So we'll spend some time on Sunday afternoon, and then Sunday evenings are free for our guys as well. Monday we come in. That's typically a day. It's a shoulder pad and helmet day for us. We're going to watch some film first. We're going to go, depending upon the team that we play, we may take our JV kids out on Monday, and if it's kind of a complicated offense like a wing tee or something like that we don't see very much, we may take, a couple coaches will take the JV kids who will be our scout team players, and they'll have the scout cards, and we start running plays with them while the varsity kids are watching film. We also will take those JV kids, and they may get 35, 40 minutes of individual practice before the varsity kids come out, and then we do a kind of a walkthrough. Tuesday and Wednesday are our full pad days. Offensively, gap runs on Tuesday, zone runs on Wednesday, has been how we've done in the past. We have a core of pass plays that we're going to work on both days. Defensively, Tuesday, here's their base runs, here's their base passes. We're going to play our base defense. Wednesday will be our blitz day. Here's what the blitzes we're going to run. And our coaches are really good, and I think this is one of the things our guys do a good job, and I really stress with them. I said, don't run all the plays against the perfect defense. Set it up so that there's going to be failure, because it's going to happen in the game. And they're going to have to adjust in the chaos of the game, if you will. Sometimes call that blitz against the worst possible play that they could run against us. okay? And that's okay. Offensively, set the blitz up so that it's our worst protection with their best blitz. So our kids can at least see this is going to happen during the game. As you all know, they're going to catch you sometimes. Tuesday is punt return. Wednesday is kickoff return. And then we'll do a total review on Thursday. They'll do a last-minute walkthrough, pro pads on that day. We always put shoulder pads and helmets on no matter what. We do our goal line stuff on Thursday as a walkthrough. Offense will run their stuff. They'll do their two-point conversion plays. They'll put all that stuff in. We're on the field about an hour and 15 minutes. Tuesday and Wednesday is normally about 2 hours and 10 minutes max. Friday is game day, and we serve our kids a meal in our cafeteria. And then we don't have a home stadium, so we're getting on a bus to go play someplace, even if it's with our blue jersey on. Tuesday and Wednesday is opponent film day. So school lets out at 3:25, for example. We may not start varsity practice until 4:30-ish because we may have guys that are still getting off work to get there. So from that time, we give them a little transition time. We want them to get them a snack. You know, they'll bring a little extra sack lunch. They'll just eat a sandwich, or they'll have a little something, Gatorade, depending on the hot day. We'll make sure that they're hydrating. And then about 3:45, 3:50, we'll go 20-25 minutes of film with our coordinator sitting in there. Okay, here's what we're going to go against today. And a lot of times, as everybody knows, the scouts can't represent exactly the same way, because if they were, they'd be playing on the other side of the ball. So what we try to really do is get our kids to watch a lot of film. It's going to look like this as opposed to what you might see in practice. And again, we're fortunate at our place, all of our kids have iPads. We're a one-to-one school, so we've got Huddle on the iPads. Gets me in trouble sometimes because they're watching it in class, but when they have their downtime, they can watch film during the school day too. So our guys are pretty good about that. And now we won't do any speed development stuff during the regular season, but we'll still have the class. And next year, I think we have about 85% of our kids that are in the class. Now, in years past, when we haven't had that, we've gone with like Tuesday, offensive guys went to film, defensive guys went to weights. Wednesday, defensive guys did film, offensive guys went to weights. So we were still making sure kids are getting a lift. That's when our APE class wasn't as filled as it is now. But this year I don't think we'll have to do it, because again, we're talking 10 or 12 kids that we'll try to figure something else out to make sure they're getting their weight training in. There's a logistics of moving 125 people from spot A to spot B and getting everybody back. There's some organizational skills that are part of it. We're fortunate we take 3 charter buses when we go to travel. If it's more than 2 hours, we take charter buses. The athletic department pays for 2 and our boosters pays for the 3rd. Otherwise, we'd have to create a dress list and only take 75. We normally have 105-ish kids, so we're real fortunate there. That's a plus for us. For example, this year we go to South Bend and play. We'll get out of school at 2 o'clock. Our administration is so good about it, and our kids academically are pretty good that they'll know on Tuesday and Wednesday, they'll know we're leaving early. The teachers will know that we're leaving early, and those kids are responsible for picking up those assignments for maybe those 2 classes or a class and a half that they might miss. And so we're real big on making sure that they stay on top of their books on stuff like that. We have great big travel bags. On Thursday night, the kids will pack their travel bags. I make them have a buddy. Their buddy checks their bags, because we have forgot helmets before, we've forgotten shoulder pads, we've forgotten cleats. So our buddies check our bags, but our bags are all packed on Thursday night. And the only thing they got to do is come down to the locker room, grab their bag, and head to the bus. Our boosters, again, will have a sack lunch for us. So there's a table set out in front of the buses. The kids go down, they grab their bag, they come right down the line. There's parents there. Here's your sack, here's your Powerade, here's your water. Get on the bus. We got one coach who's responsible for trash bags on the bus. One of the things that I'm really big on, that bus is cleaner than when we got on it, when we get off. And our kids are, and I'll run them. And we've had to do it. We've run them before. So again, we plan ahead. So for example, that's 2 o'clock. We're going to leave at 2:15. We got about a 2.5-hour bus ride. We've stopped at different places before at different times. Just get out, walk, stretch your legs. We've done it that way. It kind of depends upon your kids. This year we're going to travel straight through to get to South Bend. We try to get there an hour and a half or hour 45 minutes ahead of game time. Take a half hour or so just to kind of get out, walk around, and move. Then we're getting dressed, getting ready, getting taped, and then we're typically 50 minutes on the field before games to do our warm-up. After the game, we have a reciprocal deal with those schools. They feed us on the way home, and so, for example, Trinity or St. X comes to our place this year, our parents will make sure that they've got food before they send them on the bus to go home afterwards. So it's a good deal that we work out with the schools that we have to do some of this travel with. We've done it overnight. We went and played in Detroit about 6 years ago. We actually played at Canton. We played McKinley and Canton and toured the Pro Football Hall of Fame on Saturday morning and then played the game on Saturday afternoon. It was pretty cool. But we took 75 kids up. When we do that, we do take a certain dress list when we go overnight. We took all 75 kids to Canton, paired them up, had 4 in a room, but that was the most cost-effective way we could do it. We picked a place that had the breakfast downstairs. We warned them in advance, so they knew that they were going to have it, so it worked out real well, and then ate our pregame meal after going through the Football Hall of Fame at the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So it was a pretty good deal. It was a good setup there. The other time, we took half the guys up, the guys that were really going to play. So we had about 35 guys that were our starters, our ones and our twos. We put them up overnight when we went to Detroit. Then the next morning, we brought the second wave of guys up so that they could still be there, be a part of that. And that really worked out pretty well as well. As a head coach, you get a little nervous, but you just set your ground rules out early. Here's bed check, here's bedtime. We went around, put pieces of tape on the door. Door's open, tape's gone. I did a walk through at 2 in the morning just to make sure that we're all where we're supposed to be. And again, both trips, kids handle themselves extremely well. But you do, as a head coach, you get a little nervous. I always said I'd never take kids overnight. We've done it twice, but it's been successful twice. We've played on ESPN 4 times now. There's a lot of logistics on the backside that's really I take on, making sure that the rosters and all those things and the paperworks and the waivers and those things, kids have to fill out all the stuff about their favorite player and their favorite this, favorite that. Well, I do that as early in the week as I possibly can because literally I sit down with them to make sure that Lord only knows what sometimes kids write stuff down that their favorite whatever, So I go through and kind of do a little editing to make sure that we're all good. I try to take as much of that off. And then quite frankly, with our players, we don't even talk about it. The only thing we may mention is we're going to have TV timeouts, and that you're going to have a minute and a half, 2 minutes that our kids have really done a nice job adjusting to. Played in the state finals last year, and again, they were doing minute and a half TV timeouts. The team that we were playing, they were kind of out there in a huddle and the coaches were not with them and they were kind of waiting to do the play and we were still huddled up. We just keep an eye on the TV guy that tells you, okay, we're ready to wind. And so we take that extra time to really coach our kids up. So we've become real patient with that, and our kids have learned to do that as we've played some of these games. And quite frankly, in our state finals game, I think it kind of made a little bit of a difference that our kids had been there and done that, and that we relaxed a little bit. I think it made a difference. But there's a lot of stuff that goes in with the ESPN games that you do on the front end that is really time consuming. And it's time consuming for you as a coach. So I tried to keep it away from my players and assistants as much as possible.